Today, we're stepping from one train right onto another, at one of the strangest station layouts I've ever seen. And we're going to answer the question, why is this here?
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new Trains Are Awesome video. My name is Tom. I'm on a Mark Penn Line train. We're at BWI Airport and the next stop is Halethorpe. I'm going to be getting off there because that's the station that I want to talk about today. It's got something weird going on.
Halethorpe is located on the northeast corridor between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, although much closer to Baltimore. As we pull into the station, pay close attention to what the conductor is communicating over his radio.
Give me 10 feet, 5 feet. Give me five more. Alright, get stop, 5 feet. Have a good one.
You too.
Now, most of the platforms on the Mark Penn line are shorter than the train, so it's not unusual for the train to have to stop at a specific spot. But here's something very rare happened where the conductor had to pinpoint down to the foot exactly where to stop. And that's because the train is not stopped on the track closest to the platform. Instead, the doors had to line up with these platform extenders.
On my next station stop, West Baltimore up next. All doors were not open, except for the rear train. Doing the last 2 cars, only when you check uniform conductor. Once again, West Baltimore, the next station stop is out of school. Make your way through the rear train.
Before we dive into the platform extenders, let's take a quick tour of the rest of Halethorpe Station.
In terms of platform layout, there's 4 tracks, and the outer 2 tracks both have high-level platforms that are really long, and then at the north end of the platforms, there's also a low-level section. You may have also noticed that this building is quite new, at least for Mark standards. Although Halethorpe Station has been around for a very long time, this building only dates back to 2013. It was completely rebuilt.
On its completion, the newly renovated station was dedicated to Ned Malone, and interestingly, on the platform, you can still find signs with a logo that was retired in 2000.
All right, let's talk about the surroundings. So on the east side, it's all single-family homes, no businesses. It's also where the bus connections are. So for the UMBC shuttle, it's really easy. You just go up the ramp, and the stop is right there. If you want to take the MTA 32, it's incredibly inaccessible. So you take the ramp, but then the stop is across the street, so you have to walk on this very steep stretch of grass. I had to help a person who had a visual impairment find the bus, and it took us 10 minutes just to get from the platform to the bus stop. Really unacceptable.
This is the only exit on the east side of the station, and that's the only side that buses serve.
And then on the west side of the station, you have the ticket vending machines, the parking lot, also some residential areas, and some businesses. I actually wanted to walk around a little bit. There's one place in particular. It was called Captain Dick's Crabs Galore. Seemed like a place to get some good seafood. Maybe leave the store a little itchy, I don't know. We'll have to come back another time because my train back to DC is coming soon.
To the station's credit, though, crossing from one side to the other can be done safely and accessibly thanks to this overpass that was part of the 2013 reconstruction.
So there are elevators and staircases on both sides, so you don't have to cross the tracks to get from one side to the other.
It seems pretty clear to me that most passengers are expected to use the west side of the station. The buses can't stop on that side because there's no road connection between the route that they use and the station parking lot. Anyway, one more point about the overpass.
It also gives you a good view of those weird temporary freight car platforms.
Yes, let's finally talk about the reason we came to Halethorpe Station, these platform extenders. Several of them have been lined up alongside the northbound platform to bridge the gap between the platform and the track where trains are stopping at. And as we saw with our MARC train earlier, they line up exactly with the doors of the train, so long as the engineer parks the train in the right spot. However, what's most interesting about these is what they're made of. You might expect a platform extender like this to be made up of scaffolding or some other temporary structure built over the tracks. But when you look at them from the other side, you can clearly tell that these are train cars.
So yeah, I'm just standing on a train car right now. I think that's the first time I ever walked from one train to another without using a platform. Although, of course, you could argue that this is a platform, but it's definitely on a train car, so I think it counts.
You see the wheels, the coupler, the brakes. They're just that have had these planks put on top to create a level boarding experience with the train. Honestly, when you step off the train, it doesn't feel any different than stepping onto a normal platform. You'll also notice that they're all numbered AMTK something. That of course stands for Amtrak. Even though only MARC trains stop here, the infrastructure here is owned by Amtrak as it's part of the Northeast Corridor. And they are the reason why these platform extenders are here in the first place.
Now, of course, the big question is why? Why have these train cars that you need to board from when you have this really nice platform here? So the reason for this actually doesn't have much to do with MARC at all. It's because of Amtrak. They're doing construction between Halethorpe and West Baltimore on that specific track. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I was at West Baltimore Station and there was a flagger there.
Of course, a flagger's job is to protect construction crews from any oncoming train traffic. If we're talking about Halethorpe in this video, why am I bringing up West Baltimore Station? And for that matter, why is this Acela traveling so slowly? Well, it all has to do with the same construction project. See, from a point just south of Halethorpe until a point just north of West Baltimore, the corridor is actually 4 tracks. But the easternmost track has been closed for construction, on and off over the last few years. The most recent closure is from April until July of 2026. It all has to do with the construction of the Frederick Douglass tunnels through Baltimore. See, just north of West Baltimore are the B&P tunnels, which have been used by trains traveling underneath Baltimore since the 1870s. They're over 150 years old and they're showing their age. Trains have to travel through them incredibly slowly. They're constantly having issues or being closed for maintenance, so it's time for a replacement tunnel. The Frederick Douglass Tunnel will be that replacement, running for 2 miles and letting trains go at much faster speeds. That will dramatically improve the reliability of this part of the Northeast Corridor. Honestly, it's one of the most important projects in the northeastern United States right now. And the tunnel will be 2 miles long, but improvements are happening over a stretch of 10 miles, including the section between Halethorpe and West Baltimore, where this 4th track is being closed for work on the tracks as well as utility work. Even though one of the tracks is closed, there's little to no impact on the train's schedule, which on the one hand is good, but on the other hand kind of shows that this part of the corridor is not being used to its full potential. I mean, if you can just miss a whole track and be fine, then there's space for more trains, although those limitations are caused partially by bottlenecks such as the tunnel up ahead. Really, the Frederick Douglass Tunnel is going to have a massive impact on train travel in this region once it opens in 2035.
And because that track is out of service, Amtrak has placed these platform extenders, as they call them, to help people board.
Which I have to say is a huge improvement over the situation at West Baltimore, where you have to climb down the train and then cross a track, which is safe because the track's not active, but it's way less pleasant. West Baltimore, by the way, will get a brand new station as part of this construction project, and honestly, they need it, because right now their station is basically 2 pallets next to the train tracks. Now, the last question, why have these extenders be flat cars? They're simply better than all the alternatives. You've got the level boarding aspect of it. I mean, if you just spent a lot of money renovating a station to make it wheelchair accessible, you want to keep the platforms accessible. Once you leave the station, it's a free-for-all, but that's besides the point. And there are other ways to do that. For example, Metro North near New York has these narrow ramps. They're kind of like ship gangways to connect to the doors. But these flat cars can just be attached to a locomotive and moved easily once they're no longer needed, and Amtrak has used these all across the Northeast Corridor.
If you want to see this for yourself, you have until July 31st. After that, they're being removed, although this is the second time that I've seen them here in a year, so they might come back. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and we'll see you next time.